Believe it or not, I made the conscious decision to not make any more Hero Academia videos this season, despite the seasonal hype still going strong, because I made quite a number of them altogether, and the last thing I want is to get burnt out talking about a series I actually really like. So my apologies everyone that wanted an analysis of the Deku vs. Bakugo masterpiece of a fight. I'm sure Mother's Basement will do one eventually, but I don't think I will. Well, unless the comment section changes my mind on that. Wonder if you viewer fan people have any power over that. But in any case, I was extremely excited to make this particular video because unlike talking about Deku vs. Bakugo, which everyone could kinda talk about, I'm in a unique position to discuss the topic I've selected, and I'm the only person here on anime YouTube that really does in-depth analysis videos alongside meme satire content. So I'm not gonna keep you waiting on explaining my ambiguous-ass title that frankly is really as accurate as it can be, granted the unorthodox and novel nature of this video, but doing my honest descriptions on every pro hero in My Hero Academia, where I satirically and honestly poked fun at every pro hero in the damn series using any ammunition I could, from blatant plot holes to philosophical fallacies. It's low-key really understatedly difficult to find some dirt on everyone. Link to the video is in the description, and Gang Orca was one of those pro heroes that honestly wasn't really around enough to easily find honesty ammo. So it took a while to come up with my shiz.
Oh, but come up with my shiz I have. What?
Anywho, when Gang Orca was first introduced to be the final stage of the provincial license exam, it was explained in both the anime and the manga that he was selected to play the villain role because, and I quote, he is the official pro hero that looked most like a villain would. Obviously, I was thrilled to read this. This is too good as far as honesty ammo. Originally, I took this as an arbitrarily inadvertent statement that held no real meaning to the story. It was just great to point out as a flaw. Selecting Gang Orca to play the villain role because he's the hero that looks most like a villain is visual discrimination 101. I don't really want to do this, but to find an analogy to our societal life, and it disgusts me to even say this, but it's like saying that your final exam in the self-defense class will be fighting against a black guy because he's our employee that looks most like a mugger, or against an Arab because he looks like a terrorist. Phrased like that, it is so unequivocally horrible, and no one in their right mind should ever even allude to such a thing. But societally, it's exactly what was said about Gang Orca here, and it was taken well. Can you imagine an exam on the prestige level of the provincial license exam, which gathered all the top students from all the elite schools around the entire country to actually have a perverted ideology to the extent that no one bats an eyelash to blatant discrimination? Well, obviously then, in the society of My Hero Academia, something like this wouldn't be considered discriminatory. For some odd reason that, well, we may be discussing today. So, welcome to the first episode of a potential series really unique to me, the depths of satire. Let's discuss the root of evil in My Hero Academia, why this somehow is not considered baseless discrimination, but why it should be. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested in something like this, but now let's get into the meat and potatoes of evil in My Hero Academia. Something that bothered me for a while in all of My Hero Academia's runtime, and please don't kill me, give me a minute, was the lack of a compelling villain ideology. Stain was kind of an exception to this rule, which is kind of why I really liked him. But you should probably watch my Endeavor video if you're interested in my take of what makes a hero. But every other villain aside from Stain had zero ideological value in their philosophy, no motives, no reasoning, and no compellment for me to like them. So I always consider that to be a negative for the My Hero Academia series. People of course tried to convince me that, no, they're bad guys. Not every bad guy needs to make sense. And at first, I obviously disagreed with this. I mean, look at some other contemporary shonen villains I like. First of all, every opposing force in Attack on Titan has a powerful ideology, be it the Armored Titan side or the government. They're all far superior evil organizations than the League of Villains, as is the Akatsuki, the Phantom Troop, and the Chimera Ants. And One Piece takes someone like Katakuri. Looking at the story from his perspective, he literally fought to defend his family against an invader that sought their destruction, i.e. Luffy. Looking at the story from Katakuri's perspective, he was in the right. No villain in Hero Academia, not all for one, not Shigaraki, who kinda is growing as a foil to Deku, not the League of Villains, and not the Yakuza, has any of that going for them. And no, I'm not bringing this up to bash My Hero Academia, because while I stand by my opinions that on an individual level, the League of Villains and the individuals that make it up are, by anime standards, rather poor villains, I fully admit that I was completely wrong in another aspect entirely. I admit it when that happens, and in this case, all this is not not at all a hindrance to MHA's story. So I apologize for the things I've been saying. To an extent, I still stand by the fact that on an individual levels, they're rather poor villains, but as far as the themes of the story, they're really damn good. So to really stress the point I'm about to make, do you remember how in the tournament arc, my boy Shinso, one of my 5 favorite students in the entire series, mentioned how he was treated all of his life? Well, he said how his quirk, this genetic mutation he was born with and had absolutely no control over, was more suited to be a villain's quirk than a hero's quirk. And all his life, at least until his time to shine in the sports festival, he was constantly judged by all his surroundings. Because of this superficial, stupid aspect of his life, he was treated worse by everyone, purely because of a stigma he was born with that he had no control over. That's the pain everyone in this society goes through, where actual racism no longer really exists, but it's an odd form of pseudo-discrimination based off quirks and quirk mutations. So back to what I was saying about the villains of My Hero Academia, it's all a mirror image of how MHA society reflects ours. I mentioned that extensively about what makes a hero in my Endeavor video, but it fits so perfectly for the villains too. You got your total psychos, of course, just like we have, like Toga or Twice, that, you know, unfortunately do exist and pose problems to their surroundings. You got your self-centered mob bosses like Overhaul. You got your extremely powerful fellow like Kim Jong-un for one. You got someone like Stain, who's an extreme individual rarity that actually has some form of perverted ideological argument. You got Giran, who's in it for the money. And slight spoilers for the manga in 3, 2, 1, but Gentle's basically Logan Paul. By far, though, the most popular array of villains witnessed in this world are the outcasts and misfits, where the surprising majority of criminal activity is committed by obviously deformed individuals, to the point that every single standalone random villain in the entire story had this problem. The giant villain in episode 1, yeah, he was deformed. Sludge villain in episode 2, yeah, a bit deformed. Villain getting chased by Mount Lady and Kamui Woods at the end of the first season, that All Might beat in like 5 seconds to show off how cool All Might was. Guy looked like a big penis. Deformed. I mean, look at penis guy over here. Is this guy gonna find love, or will he die alone? You know the answer to that. Almost every single villain that invaded UA in the USJ arc, accompanying the League of Villains, they were all freaking deformed. This guy, this guy, this guy, and especially this guy. The villain fought in the Froppy internship in the Hero Killer arc. Tentacle Face was deformed. Davy Jones looked prettier than that bastard, as well as Tentacle Face's accomplices. They looked like mutant penguin people. In episode 24 of season 3, we saw Twice walking around, and during his little stroll, he ran into a buttload of villains, cause for why someone would become a fighting in an alley. No matter who they were, our own society is due to discrimination. It's a feeling where someone does not belong, and they're easily caught up in things that, well, they very much should not be doing. It's not like this is a hidden secret fact. There's no hiding the issues in the society My Hero Academia faces. And let's not kid ourselves either, it's not like a villain in this world is a massive irregularity. In the short Twice stroll in the latest episode at the time of me writing the script, at least, he bumped into over a dozen villains in 4 separate groups. This does not bode well for the society of Hero Academia, and honestly, it's not like we really need to think all too hard why most of these people became villains. Gorka is a hero that looks like a villain would. Shinso has a quirk that would better suit a villain than a hero. Even looking at villains that are quickest to pick up Stain's ideology, who was Spinner. Spinner's a handsome lizard, but he's a lizard nonetheless. I can't comment on Kurogiri, Magne, or Mr. Compress. We don't know why they're villains, as is. But to go full circle as far as my long-time complaint that the villains in My Hero Academia are just so lackluster in comparison to contemporary shonen, there's no equivalent here to Meru and Pain, Doflamingo, or Yoshikage Kira. But that's not the tale My Hero Academia is weaving. We don't need a story focused on Meruem's outlook of humanity or Pain's ideology based off suffering. It's the story of society, as I've stressed in Endeavor's video, which focused on what makes a hero. And in our everyday society, this is what makes a villain. This is the looming evil of My Hero Academia. It's not just a story of good versus evil, but it's a tale of how to behave in society and the countermeasures required to protect it. So, Whammon and Gentle Whammon of all ages, thank you so much for watching this video, and unless your comments change my mind, my intention is this will be the last My Hero Academia video I will be making for the next few weeks. I just really wanted to wrap up this thought, and I'm glad I did, because I'm happy with this video. Honestly, not that I expected to get a lot of views, because there's no way I could think of a good title for this, or a good clickbait for it. I'm gonna call this video Taku versus Bakugo, Secret Story Exposed, and it's gonna be this take on villains and evil. That'll win over some subscribblers. Yeah, no. But I want this take to exist on YouTube, and I appreciate all of you for actually watching it and maybe sharing it, spreading it around. I think it's accurate, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments, as well as other content you would like me to make. Link in my description to my honest description on every hero in My Hero Academia, as well as to my Endeavor video, which focuses on what makes a hero, the main theme of the series. And honestly, my masterwork on My Hero Academia, I'm super proud of that video. It's for sure in my top 5 videos I've ever made. Link in the description also to my Twitter, to my merch. If you like villains in Hero Academia, dabby on the haters and pick up one of these fine bad boys. And if you like the heroes better, well then you can pick up some of my Hashirama Cells merch. A great garb for all occasions. Smash like if you hate discrimination, and subscribe if you think it's dumb. That'll win them over. And if you're a pro-discrimination, racist, bigot, son of a slime ball, you should also subscribe to this channel. I think that pretty much gets everything. Also, link in the description to my Patreon. Feel free to support me there. It would be really helpful, and everyone who supports me gets to join the Discord server where we all make fun of me, which is amazing and a lot of fun. Special thanks to my patrons: King Beat My Meat, Sage of Snake, Pop-Up, Lazy Ronin, Allison Stricker, JD Fincher, Elaser, Sash, Axel, Frisky Dingo, Rari, MD, Praise Lord Gilgamesh, Hugh, Billy Thompson, Zindergarten, Sergeant Malarkey, Miku, and TMFilly, who is editing this video. Thank you, TMFilly. Feel free to say hi. And of course, you have the full power to cut this out of the recording, so if you don't want to say hi, then you can just do that. Also, thanks to the Lord Tweegers, Grumpy Welshman, Large Blab, Matthew Yang, Necro, Zombie Nisha, Carlos Altamirano, Teakui, Gavin Anderson, and Tyler Schumacher, who used to be a Lord Tweaker, but has evolved to God Usopp rank, alongside Dark Element, Yokai, and Maurice Luis Dreyfus. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much to everyone. Remember, fam, discrimination sucks. But you know what's even better than discrimination? Staying weird. How was that for a transition?